Hello, everybody. This is José Ignacio from the Uncomfortable Dialogues 2022. It is my great pleasure and honor to have today in our virtual studio a true and fascinating leader, a mentor, and also a friend, Jorge Luis Brake. Jorge is an outstanding and exceptional businessman, not because of the power or authority he has achieved throughout his career, or his impressive business results, or his international expertise, but more so because of his ability to empower people. For perspective, Jorge started as a young sales rep in Procter & Gamble, Lima, Peru. Then, he had multiple roles in the US, Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico. He changed then gears and moved to Laureate Universities International. He has also been a dynamic entrepreneur, a board member, and he's currently the CEO of Genoma Lab International, a leading international corporation with operations in 19 countries in Mexico. During our candid dialogue today, you will notice Jorge's natural style in terms of empowering communities and people around him. While this is always important, it is more so crucial in the midst of our global health crisis. Without any further ado, welcome Jorge to this Uncomfortable Dialogue 2022. How are you doing?
Hello, Nacho. Very well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me to this conversation. It's very interesting what you're doing here, trying to get people to know about the experience of many people around the world, especially during these difficult times.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jorge. I know that you are a busy man, so I really want to go directly to the point. So everything is kind of business as usual?
I have to say that life is good, fortunately. But times are very difficult for everybody, including us, in terms of having to deal with this situation that started almost 2 years ago, that brought many changes to our way of living, brought many changes to the way we work, brought many changes to the way we do things in general terms, and it's been a challenge. And as I always say, if you are positive during crisis, you will be stronger after the crisis. And that is what is happening, I think, to me, to the people that I know, and to the company in which I am working now.
So Jorge, from your experience, every time you were given an opportunity, you face crisis, and you transform the crisis into new opportunities. So what will be your recipe?
I think in all the cases, the concept is the same, and probably the overall solutions apply the same. If you look at the crisis as an opportunity, then you will be much more positive in the way you analyze the crisis, understand the crisis, and then decide solutions or actions to be able to manage the crisis. And I think COVID has been similar to this. I remember in March of 2020, when everything exploded in our face, we started thinking, what is going to happen now? This is the first time we're living this, all of us. It doesn't matter if you are 80, 50, or 20 years old. For all of us, it was a first in our lives to live a pandemic like this. So we said, we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know how big or not this thing is going to be. But I think we made the right decisions, looking at this crisis as an opportunity to do things that we never did before, or to change things, to pilot or test other things, including our organization capability and energy and commitment, et cetera, et cetera. So the support that you provide to your people in these type of situations, especially when you're talking about health issues, is so critical. That will be the number one. Positivism of our people helped a lot. Going back to people, when you have people empowered, motivated, right attitude, positive mindset, everything can be done.
Yeah, Jorge, I agree with you. And the other thing that you didn't mention, but I know that you have done, is you went public and you said, we want to empower our organization. So
Yes.
It's not necessarily kind of a top secret. It was something that you make it very clear to everybody in your organization, or
Yes.
even in Mexico, because you publish communications and you talk to other investors.
Yes, exactly. That's and I would say that if you think about what are the success factors that after being more than 35 years in business, in different type of businesses and countries and everything, people continue to be my number one answer. The major, most important factor for you to deliver your strategy, to deliver your plans, etc. Without the right people with the right attitude, you will not be able to prove that your plan, your strategy, and everything was working well or could be delivered at its maximum potential. The second one will be to define a real, strong, clear strategy, to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
But it seems to you that there is going to be an oxymoron. So if you have a strategy, but the world is changing so quickly, how do you cope with these two moving variables?
The challenge when you develop a strategy is several different things. You have to get the right people involved since the beginning. It cannot be your strategy. Sure. You cannot allow the strategy to be seen as something that Jorge created or whoever created. You have to involve all the right people at the right moment to develop and define that vision and strategy and the key plans behind that. And then you have to ensure that all the plans to execute the strategy are also in place, and you have tools to follow up. You have tools to make sure that you continue having the people totally connected and energized behind the plan, analyzing the results, analyzing the impact of the strategies or the decisions you made before, the choices you made. It's an ongoing thing, always involved and connected with the strategy.
One thing you mentioned people, excellent.
Yeah.
So the thing, a strategy is not necessarily kind of a dead document. It's something that you continue to refresh it and revise it every quarter or every month or whatever.
It is always live. Yeah, it has to be that way because things change and you have to be aware of the changes always.
So, Jorge, I wish that we could have far more time, but we can't.
Okay, so, no problem.
When everything is done and set in stone, what will be your legacy? So how do you want to be remembered by the people who have worked with you? Your family, your colleagues, or your country?
I think two things come to mind. One is I would like to see people remembering what they did together with me. And I'm changing your question. I'm not saying what I did. I like people to remember me saying, these are the things that I did with Jorge while we were working together, for instance. No? And that includes two things. It's transformation. I've always liked to follow the word transformation from a very positive and constructive standpoint. And that is what I did when I moved with P&G to different countries. We always transform what we found. And as you know, we have thousands of examples of that. That's what I did when I was in the education world, in the business side of the education. And that is what I'm doing the last 3 years in Genoma. It's transforming, it's helping companies get to the next level. And together with that word transformation, again comes people. Helping people be better, helping people develop, helping people be able to produce to the maximum they can while enjoying it. Those are the two big things that come to my mind, and I can relate that in business and personal life too.
Excellent. Jorge, this is a phenomenal discussion. Thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate your time with us today. And for everybody else watching this webcast, if you have any question to Jorge or to myself, just make sure you write it down here in YouTube and LinkedIn, and we'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Nacho.